All right, so good to have you back from that break. It's still the weekend politics, and wherever it is you're watching us from, you're live here in the city of Calabar. Now, when it has to do with the weekend politics, we talk everything politics. We take you through the political space, we analyze, we dissect, and at the end of the day, we try to profile political solutions to everything that will be raised on the show today. And joining me on set, I have some gentlemen who, have come into grace our set this evening to lend their expert voices on some very serious political issues trending here in Nigeria, and most importantly, in our home state, Cross River State. I have my very good friend and brother, Dr. Efefiong Taike. He is the mayor of Calabar. Mayor, so good to have you join us. Good evening. Welcome to Weekend Politics.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
And let's not forget that Mayor was also one of the frontline aspirants of the just concluded House of Reps elections for the Calabar municipality and Odobangi. And beside him, we have Mr. Robert Ani, also a frontline aspirant in the just concluded House of Reps elections for Calabar municipality and Odobangi federal constituency. Honorable Robert, so good to have you join us.
Good evening, viewers. Nice to be here.
And we also have beside Robert, Ndabo Emmanuel Bassi. He is the state youth leader of APC Cross River State. Ndabo, so good to have you join us. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
And I have my friend and my brother, Raphael Mofia Doga, coordinator of Ogoja Local Government Area of Prince Otu's Advocates 2023. Now, gentlemen, I must indeed commend you for coming around to grace our show this evening. And I would love to start by saying that this strive support group put out there by you, Prince Otu's Advocate, is very commendable. But before we narrow down our discourse to what is happening in Cross River State, let me take us back 29 years ago on the June 12th. Today is a very historic day in the life and time of Nigeria. Mayor, let me start with you, because you superintend over the first capital in Nigeria. Let's get to know your thoughts on this June 12th Democracy Day celebrated today by Nigerians.
Well, thank you so very much, viewers out there, Riverians and Nigerians. I want to really appreciate you for this noble opportunity to express ourselves, especially when it has to do with the historic position of democracy in Nigeria. Today is June 12th, where Abiola won elections critically and was deprived of that office. But I thank God that today we are into a situation where democracy has been widened, democracy has been strengthened, democracy has been strengthened. Everyone sitting at home, you see what is happening in Lagos today. Even in Calabar, some churches in Obudu, before you go into, you enter the church, you have to show your PVC. So it's not about the people, it's not just about the party anymore. So we need to appreciate the National Assembly, appreciate the President himself for ensuring that the Electoral Act has been put in place, ensuring that power gets back to the people. So we want to thank the President of Nigeria and also the National Assembly holistically for molding and strengthening democracy. If it were like this in June 12th, some years back, I think the rightful thing would have been done. But since the democracy at that time wasn't this different, it wasn't this widened, we had these flaws. But as we progress, I think Nigerian democracy is having a headway. So I want to thank the people out there for believing in the leadership of Nigeria for today, believing in the leadership of APC, and also believing in the leadership of the National Assembly. I think we're going somewhere.
Thank you very much. Mr. Robert, let's get to find out, prior to this time, Democracy Day has been celebrated on May 29 since 1999. But not until 2018 when President Muhammadu Buhari had to shift it to June 12 in honor of MK Abiola. Now, let's look at this recognition of June 12 rather than May 29 as Democracy Day. What does it portray to Nigeria and our democratic journey?
Well, June 12 is a landmark date where Nigerians spoke with one voice even though it was a Muslim ticket, as you had earlier said in the previous segment, Nigerians spoke with one voice and gave their mandate to Chief MP Abiola and his running mate, Alhaji Kingibe. Since then, we have never really had that situation or instance where Nigerians actually came out and spoke with one voice in that magnitude. So June 12th is a landmark date that nobody can change. May 29th is the date that democracy returned back in 1999. Right, okay, it's a date like any other date. But June 12th has its major significance that cannot be taken away for any reason. So for that reason alone, June 12th is special, and I want to say that the government was right by recognizing that date.
All right, thank you very much. Ndabo Emmanuel, you are the state youth leader of the APC here in Cross River State. Now, let's look at the sacrifices of the heroes past. And Abiola is dead and gone, but let's look at the sacrifices that politicians, Democrats, have put in place since 1993 till date.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. Looking at the sacrifices that politicians have made over the years in order to strengthen democracy in Nigeria is very significant. Starting from the historic June 12th, which we are very happy as Nigerians that this day has been immortalized as our Democracy Day in Nigeria. It goes to show that democracy has come to stay in Nigeria, and the sacrifices that was done by the heroes of June 12 have not been forgotten. And looking at the situation now, you can say that the political situation in Nigeria is, as it regards the electoral process, is better. Now our electioneering system is almost reproof now with the viewers, and the power has truly returned to the people of this country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ndabo. Raphael, you are the coordinator of Broja LGA on Prince Utu's Advocates 2023. That's the big picture there. Now, I want to find out, let's look at the gains. How can politicians today, consolidate on the gains that we've recorded since 1999? How can today's politicians, consolidate on the gains recorded so far, democratic gains, achieved so far, 1999 till today, moving forward?
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. Well, you can see, we looked at continuity, developmental stride, innovations, trying to build up our society. One basic thing that will aid having to sustain our gains, political gains, is the idea of continuity, which most leaders have neglected. It has jeopardized our political system. It has brought down democracy. But presently, with the advent of and the coming up on board of Prince Bassey II, who we know is antecedent, who worked seriously well to make sure that the people benefit in terms of his rich empowerment. He encouraged the process. By that singular act, I believe that the political system can be sustained properly by becoming the captain of the ship, by driving Cross River State to the unamiable act. We are looking where government can be taken back to the people who need this government the most, downtrodden our communities, our mothers, where hospitals can be rebuilt, where schools can be created, where wealth can be equally distributed. We are looking at a system where young, smart, intelligent, bold minds and put their hands together to champion a cause. By using our state as a case study on this matter, we are looking at back then, young people with innovations always sit back at home, just like my brothers here said, coming up with new policies for our electorate to build up our electoral system and having to make everybody participatory in this process. You see that gain to be sustained. It has strengthened, it has created a bond in a system. So with all of this, the whole process, the political system and democracy will be enjoyed by everybody. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Let me come to you real quick. It's one of the highlights of the Democracy Day speech that His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari highlighted was the fact that we had seamless, very peaceful party primaries, now cutting across all the political divides. Now let's look at the APC presidential primaries. You are a stakeholder as far as the APC is concerned. Take us back. Just a few days ago we concluded the presidential primaries. Take us back to what really happened in the Eagle Square and the emergence of Tinubu, Bola Ahmed. Tinubu, is it a reflection? Is it of democratic process? I'd love to take us through very briefly on the APC presidential primaries.
Okay, thank you so very much. Yes, taking you back to what happened at the Eagle Square in Abuja a few days ago. I think it has really sent a signal to Nigerians that we can achieve internal democracy in the various party lines. And what transpired, before even few hours before that time, people were believing that it was going to be a consensus thing. And building on consensus is not really going to give strength to the party, because people are going to be disenfranchised. People won't be allowed to make statements. People won't be allowed to vote for who they want to vote. And I thank God for the president yielding to the pressure that came to him, that no, at this point in time, Nigeria needs a leader that was truly voted to, or voted into office by the people, not by few selected airlines. And that is actually what transpired. And the emergence of Tinubu as a person did not just happen. He contested the elections against an incumbent, a sitting vice president of the country, ministers and governors across party lines, or within the party, sorry. But he enjoyed goodwill of political antecedents. Before today, Tinubu is this caliber of a politician that has made politicians, that has been able to develop political structure. He has given capacity to generations, even yet unborn. He has been able to develop beyond Lagos State as his own state when he was a governor. He is one pragmatic politician that has been able to place in high places, including the vice president of the nation. He was, an instrument to the emergence of the vice president and other governors in the state. So what happened? He won the elections. The second person who followed him was even about 900 and something good margin. But he won the vice president with over 1,000 votes. That goes to tell you that he has been active. He has been supportive. He is enjoying goodwill. He is enjoying the support of the people he had made over the years. And that is political structure. So what transpired that day was just a clear signal telling the people in the entire world that politicians have made statements that there is an internal democracy in our party. And I think the similar thing happened in the other party, in PDP, and subsequently every other party that is that have done their presidential primaries. So I want to thank our great party for adhering to the yearnings of the people and also translating it to reality, making our the democratic processes to reflect the minds of the people. So that's just what transpired in Eagle Square a few days ago.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ifeoma, Mayor. Mr. Robert Ani, you were very much active during the electioneering period as an aspirant for the House of Reps, Calabar Municipality, or the Bangor Federal Constituency. Now, let's look at the primaries, have come and gone. And that's produced a whole lot of presidential candidates across party lines. The APC has distinguished Senator Ahmed Tinubu. We have the PDP flagging Atiku. We have Labour Party having Peter Obi and Kwankwaso there with the NNPP. Let's try to do an analysis of all of this. You know, who do you think? Now, I don't want to sound as a PDP, as an APC man. But let's do a breakdown of all of these big wigs that I've mentioned that are gearing up for the 2023 elections. I'd love to talk to us on those big wigs I've mentioned politically. Atiku, Tinubu, Peter Obi, and the rest.
Well, that is a tall order. These are heavyweights in their own right, so you can't take anything away from each and every one of them. Our party's candidate, Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or former Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a great man who has reaped the benefits of the political capital he sowed so many years ago, whilst he was governor of Lagos State. He put so many people in place, and as the primaries came through, those people came back to pay him back with profit. I believe the same thing could be said for Atiku, who also, as vice president and as former governor of, I think, former Adamawa State, did quite a lot, and they also came back to pay him in tenfold. Peter Obi, fantastic governor of Anambra State, done very well by our standards, and he's a strong contender and a strong voice. Kwankwaso, fantastic too. Kano State did quite well with his people, and he has a massive following up north. All of them are strong contenders in their own right. So trying to analyze each and every one of them would be a difficult task for me. But if I am to be biased as an APC member, I would like to say that our candidate starts heads and shoulders above all of them. So that is coming from a party man.
Yes.
But as I said, all of them are fantastic people, and they are all great candidates in their own right.
Thank you very much. Now, Bobasi, you are the state youth leader of APC. Now, the four major contenders I've listed out there are all above their 60s. Where is the place of the youth, of which you are the state youth leader of the APC? Talk to us. The last time we saw a great involvement was in 2029 when Kingsley Moghalu, the young progressive, the YPP presidential candidate, came on board. But he was just far away from occupying the first or second position. But let's look at this now. We don't see any person below 50. I mean, in the four big names I have just mentioned here, the Peter Obi, Tinubu, Atiku, and Kwankwaso. Where is the place of the youth in 2023 elections?
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, in APC we had a young man of the age of 40 who was in the race for the presidential ticket. But unfortunately, he stepped down for the eventual, he stepped down for the vice president and ended his march for the presidential ticket there for reason best known to him. But it is not all gone. The youths of Nigeria and Cross River State, we have to come together and prepare ourselves, as it is said that Rome was not built in the night. We have to build relationship across board, so that in the next coming presidential election, I'm sure all the political parties, if the youth get their teams right, I believe all the political parties in the next coming election will feel youth all across the various political parties, because we are the majority in terms of demography in this country. We hold the largest group. We should decide who becomes the president, and we should take part actively to ensure that one of us is put in place as the president of this country in the next election.
Most definitely. Raphael, let me get to find out, because a lot of Nigerians since 2015 have complained that things are bad, the economic situation is terrible, security issue is always on the increase, but and that leaves a whole lot of stain on your political party, the APC, and whoever will succeed Buhari. Now, going beyond President Tinubu, let's look at, because we are looking at presidential candidates now. Who has that prospect? If you were to be in the shoes of advising any of these presidential candidates, what would you tell them to do differently when they come in 2023? Because, to put it very clearly, a lot of Nigerians are not happy.
Well, building a community, building a state, building a nation takes a whole lot of process. Institutions must be in place. If you look at the INEC today, Nigerians are beginning to have the confidence that their vote can count. Introduction of waivers and all of that. If you look at the presidential candidates, just like my brother here said about the antecedents and what they have created before now, Ahmed Tinubu is one of the most pronounced and profound leaders who created institutions in Lagos that have been in place today. Lagos is enjoying democracy. It is one of the states in the nations of Nigeria. It is one of the states, a very great state in Africa, who have been able to maintain and sustain the gains of democracy. If you look back from when he took over power till this day, Lagos has been on top of the show. The internal generated revenue, he made sure that men with capacity, that have the influence, that have the control, can be in positions to make sure that the people all enjoy the benefit of democracy. So, Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, I think it's not that I'm a party man, but looking at all of this, when you x-ray other candidates, you look at the antecedents, you see that though they perform in their own quarter, but you see a man who created men and took men that has vision to drive the process of democracy. That is why you see that these things are sustained. People like the vice president today are benefactors. Governor of Ekiti State is one, and so many others, the Speaker of the House of Reps. Those are men picked by Ahmed, made them, and today they are running the state, running the country. So I believe he has the capacity to realign Nigeria and see that institutions are created. What Muhammadu Buhari, our president, has done by looking at creating autonomy in the local government, in the National Assembly, in the judiciary, trying to make sure that this institution function on their own. So with the emergence of Ahmed Tinubu, who understand the essence of institutions, those things can be self-driven, and now the people can now enjoy democracy. I think he stands the heights to take Nigeria to where we all dream.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mayor of Calabar, let's get to look at the mood of the nation at the moment. Are we going to see a replay of what happened 29 years ago, the Muslim ticket? And with the mood currently that religion seems to play a whole lot of role in politics, Mayor, do you think the Muslim ticket from the APC, Tinubu, a few names popped up, Gudu, El-Rufai, a few names, and these are all Muslims. Do you think the Muslim ticket would fly in a dispensation that we have today?
Well, from my own analysis, I think every party is aimed at winning elections. And elections, for me, is a game of number. Now, the emergence of Tinubu is from the southwest region of the country. Not forgetful the fact that the major votes that gives any party victory in the presidential elections is always coming from the northern extraction. So the party, the PDP, in their own case, is actually very different because they have sent the presidential their presidential candidacy to the north already, and it was a Muslim ticket. So coming to the south here, they are definitely going to pick a Christian. But in our own case, it's a little bit very sensitive, because when you propagate sending our ticket to a Christian, in the north, the Kano state that has the votes, that are going to give us the vote to win elections, who is a Christian in that extraction? They have given the south. The northern governors came together and said, this time around, the presidential ticket should go to the south. They've given us the needed support. Coming to the south, the delegates from the southern extraction voted the Muslim into office. So you do not now have to blame the northerners for supporting the south to produce the president. All we need to do is for the northerners to also project whoever they feel can represent them as the vice president in their cadre. You know, so it is not our place to begin to decide for them if they're going to give us Christian or not. They've done their part. They said, okay, 13 of them came together, governors, the southern Nigerian should be the next president, which in our own quest manifested. And today Tinubu, who is a Muslim, has emerged from our party. So going to tell them to give you Christian, for me, I think it's going to be a difficult task. So let us look at the technicalities of winning elections. Let us look at what is going to give us the strength to go into the field and win elections as a party, not as a religion. As a religion, this is democracy. So that's my position.
Okay, normally I would have had a lot of reactions there, like full of questions there, but indeed, because of time, I'd love us to come back home, because you are representing a brand, Prince Otu's advocate. Now, let me start with you, Mayor. Mayor, let's look at the man, Prince Otu, because let's come back to the main discourse now. We are done with the national scene. You know, Prince Otu is coming. Prince Otu is here. 2023 is the man Prince. So as Prince Otu's advocate, let me start with you, the Mayor, because this is going to be a transitional election. Talk to us about the man Prince Otu.
Okay, first and foremost, before Prince Otu, there should be Ben Ayade. I'm standing here to appreciate the governor, the sitting governor of the state, Senator Professor Ben Ayade, for that level of magnanimity. The emergence of Prince Otu did not just come. Yes, they will praise your left, right, and center. Oh, we want to win elections. Give us the best match. Let us put our best foot forward. And the governor actually yielded to the praise and the yearnings of the people. Prince Otu 10 times again will be the best among the lineups who came up as aspirants for that elections. Even if you had said, okay, let all of those aspirants go to the field, devoid of the fact that whether there was money or there was no money, just like what happened to Tinubu, the goodwill, what Prince Otu enjoyed in the stadium you saw there was the goodwill born out of the political capital and investment, the political structure he has so far invested over the years. There has never been a time where his level of empowerment has been outraged. It has been so unprecedented. Prince Otu is a household name in Cross River State and national politics. He has headed different committees even when he was in the House of Reps as the chairman of committees, in the Senate as the chairman of committees. His impact within Cross River State and his people in the constituency was something that till tomorrow will give a market woman the reason to say, I want to see that man with the grey hair. You know, he has a star. He has a package for the political system. You know, and the followership he commands, there is no good second in terms of a politician in Cross River State that has such a followership. Somebody who had left office since 2015, 7 years after, is still commanding this level of followership. So we give credence to him, and that is why you see the younger generation rallying around. Before even today, the emergence of Prince Otu, I was a local government chairman, also praying that the governor should not do anything contrary to the yearnings of the people, and the governor yielded. I tried in my own little way to send text to the governor, said, please sir, help us, because we're going to critical elections where at the end of the day we are contending with the PDP in Cross River State, and you need to give us a man that has the face. We need to compel the people. You cannot just compel them, you must compel them with reasons. You must compel them with this candidate antecedents. Is he a politician indeed? What are his scorecards? And putting all of these analyses together, for me, Prince was the best bet. And we need to thank the governor of Cross River State for that level of magnanimity, for that show of love and commitment. It didn't stop there. Today you are seeing him being dragged here and dragged there and dragged there. But an adage there is an adage that says that a tree that bears fruit will always have enemies, because they will be coming there to throw stones to see how they can get the fruit blocked down. So I think for me and my household and Calabar municipality, 22 is the best decision the government has made.
Definitely. Okay, Mr. Robert and me, let's look at your brand. What efforts are your brand doing to ensure that this dream comes to pass?
Okay, firstly, we are going into a general election, so we are facing the people, and the people come first. So the first thing, first and foremost, is get your PVC. If you don't have one, get it. And where you do have one, then we come to you and give you compelling reasons why our candidate Prince Otu is the best amongst the area of politicians vying for the seat of the governor of Cross River State. It is not rocket science, it's pretty straightforward. Let's side by side amongst all the candidates, he stands head and shoulders above. His scorecard is there. House of Reps, two-term House of Rep member for Olupani Calabar Municipality Federal Constituency, headed so many committees, did so well. He went to the Senate one term, did exceptionally well. And since 2015, when he was ousted, he's still been very relevant, extremely relevant. He's a household name from Bakassi to Obanliku. There's really no hamlet in Cross River State that you go to that you will not hear Prince Otu's name. So our job is even easier, marketing this brand. Our brand is for the lack of a better phrase to use, is a fantastic brand. So marketing him is not a major problem. As I said earlier, we just need to go out and tell our people, get your PVCs ready, get ready, Prince is coming.
That's right, definitely. Ndabo Manobasi, State Youth Leader of APC Cross River State. Let's look at some of the challenges that popped up shortly after his emergence. We saw distinguished Senator John Owaneno coming up with petitions here and there. And fine, the appeals committee, we saw later that cleared the old principle very well. But let's look at a few other hurdles. Today, good enough, we saw some pictures, filtering in that Chris Agara, they met, that there is space. Let's look at how can he, unify all of those other elements that may likely want to be a cog in the wheel of his progress. So that we can just keep the house together, because there's a bigger picture in 2023. What is your party doing to ensure that every frayed nerve is being sorted out before 2023? Very critical.
Yes, thank you very much. In every political organization, it is expected that there will be disagreement here and there, especially when primaries are concerned. After the primaries, we didn't expect that the contestants, those who lost out, will just fold their hands or will just go back home. And some of them tried to, to do one or two things by way of petitioning and all that, but by the grace of God, Prince Basiotu came out on tops, and the party, the APC in Cross River State, is not unless we are going around, we are meeting every of our member, every contestant, we are pleading, we are, appealing to them to see reason why everybody must put hands together and work for the goodness of the party, for the party to come out victorious in this election. And we are seeing one of the results is today's meeting between Prince Otu and Barrister Chris Agara, and subsequently others are going to move around to meet others, including our very respected Senator John Owaneno. We are going to persuade everybody, and APC as a party is going to come out stronger to face this election in 2023. I can assure you of that.
Thank you. Raphael, Coordinator Youth of Prince Otu's advocate. Let's look at the involvement, because I know Prince Otu's advocate can't do it alone. You have to work with a few other stakeholders to actualize in this dream. Let's look at how you are going to bring in the women and the youth in the fulfillment of your dream.
Thank you. Well, every apparatus has been made available. Thank Mr. Robert, let me use this for you to thank you so much for donating the property worth 6 million naira for the project. And this evening too, we are also made a coaster bus available for the project. It is a moment of harmonization, trying to see how we galvanize and bring the young people together, the women together, the aged people and all sorts that are change, people that are agent of change, that sees what is good and be part of it. You know, we've been able to get vision drivers, those that can drive the vision, those that can help us put these people together. So there is going to be a collaboration with various political organizations, various youth groups, student groups, women groups, because this is open to all of them. We'll have registrations, making sure that those groups are from each region, each zones, the southern zone, the northern zones, and the central zone, to see that there's proper advocacy. So we are doing a lot. The group is not sleeping. Just like today, we are just coming from the campaign organization office. We had an elaborate meeting. We went around to run the inspection to see that everybody is carried along. So the group is working towards achieving our goal.
Most definitely. You know, anytime we discuss politics, time is not always on our side. So let me just give us at least 10 seconds each to give a parting word, a concluding statement. I'd love to start with the Mayor of Calabar. Let me get your parting words about Prince Otu's ambition and the word for Cross-Riverans to go out and get their PVCs in 10 seconds.
Okay, thank you so very much. Mine is going to be very simple. First and foremost is to send very warm greetings to Senator Owan Eno, who is a brother, is a critical stakeholder in this political business of Cross River State and perhaps national politics, who was also a strong contender in the race, that we are going into the field to win these elections. And at this point in time, we do not need litigations. We need to build our party, devoid of whatever the rancor we have had. It's time for us to come back home. Today, there's been a formal reconciliation, you know, driven by, orchestrated by Chief Higgins. Florence Itagiwa was there, bringing Chris Agera together and Prince Otu, because there is a dire need for us to come together and ensure that we work. As we speak in the PDP, let's not forget the fact that PDP as a party is also a very strong contending force against the FPC. So when we begin to throw up this internal rancor within a party, it becomes a tool for instability, internal instability within the party. And we say God forbid, because we don't want internal rancor now. There are rumors, left, right and center, that Atiku is going to pick Donald Duke as the vice president. Donald Duke is from the southern Cross River State. And is an fake song. Let us not just believe that their permutations is not going to give relevant attacks to the APC. The answer is, if that happens, there will be critical effects in that decision. And we need to lay up a strong front to combat those intricacies. They are doing everything humanly possible to take over Cross River State. The best decision the governor may have done was to give us Prince Otu, and also to see how you can also line up candidates behind Prince Otu who are also reasonably popular on the ground to win elections, which I know that the governor has done that clearly, and we are propagating our party as APC to win elections on ground. So we cannot also go into the field to win these elections when you have internal crisis, internal loggerheads, internal, disorder within our family. So I want to beg Senator Wan to, shield the swords and also see how he can reach out to his brother, Senator Bass Otu, the incoming governor of Cross River State, so that they can work together, work things out and make the party first. The party should be our concern. The party should be able to win elections in the state. But when you begin to put up this internal rancor, it goes to throw some level of imbalance in the system. And also to our people out there, Calabar municipality is certain, by God's special grace, to win elections for the APC, because we prayed that the governor should give us Prince Otu, and the governor has given us Prince Otu. So if we lose elections, we owe the governor and we owe our people. Why we must have lost elections? But we are not going to lose. We assure you critically that Prince Otu is going to be the next governor of Cross River State. That is salient and that is very critical. It is the show of commitment of the electorate. So we are not going to compromise. We have reasonable polling units, a good number. Our voting strength in Calabar municipality is second to none in the entire Cross River State. And I think that with the level of registration that is ongoing, and then the sensitization that is also ongoing, we are going to come out and stronger in forthcoming Cuba elections. So we're asking our people to be resolute and focused, and ensuring that we propagate winning for our dear party, the APC Cross River State. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Robert, let's get your concluding statement.
Well, I'm going to be very brief and very short. Let me just conclude by saying this: the real eagle is about to land. Prince is coming. Prince is coming. Definitely coming.
Thank you. Ndabo Emmanuel Bassey, let's get your concluding statement.
Yeah, I would like to appeal to all our youths in Cross River State who have not yet registered to go out there and register and get their PVC and be ready to vote for Prince Otu and APC, because Cross River State is APC. Total. Thank you very much.
Raphael Adoga.
It is time for the electorate to do their part. But the governor has done it by giving power back to the south, by giving us Prince Otu. So it is left for us, the people, to exercise our mandate and make sure that the APC become victorious.
Thank you so very much. I must indeed thank all of you gentlemen for finding time to join us on Weekend Politics today. I've been talking with Dr. Efefiong Taike, the mayor of Calabar. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time on the show this evening.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Robert Ali, frontline aspirant in the just concluded House of Reps elections for Calabar Municipality and Odobari Federal Constituency. Many thanks, Robert.
Thank you very much.
On the show.
Thank you.
Not forgetting Ndabo Emmanuel Bass, the state youth leader of the APC here in Cross River State. Many thanks, sir, for your time on the show.
Thank you very much.
Not forgetting my very good friend and brother, Raphael Adoga, coordinator of Ogoja local government area on Prince Otu's Advocates 2023. Thank you, Raph, for your time on the show.
Thank you very much.
So, dear viewer, this is where we have to hang it on the show on Weekend Politics today. Weekend Politics returns next Sunday, God willing. My name is Joseph Ear. Have a wonderful week ahead of you.